Hello, everybody. Welcome. We have two streams going on again. I'm going to try YouTube Live again. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep doing YouTube Live, but let's keep trying, see what attendance is like. We're just testing right now. Tesla down 3% at $188 per share. Overall markets are turning negative. NASDAQ down 0.3%. S&P just slipped into negative territory as well. Dow Jones down from earlier highs, but still up 0.2%. Crude oil is at $77 per barrel. Natural gas down further, another 4.5% at 1.76. The yield curve is also down a few basis points. Like I said, Tesla is down about 3%. All megatech companies are also down. Microsoft, Apple, Google, Amazon, all down 1%. Uber also down quite a bit today. Nvidia flat. I don't see any major earnings releases in the early this week. No major macro releases today. Omar is here. Wes is here. Let's bring them up. Machine. Omar, how are you?
Hey, doing good.
Good. What do you think about this stock price decline today?
Yeah, I think it's good. I am trying to buy more shares right now. So, a lot of the Tesla community has become the butthurt bag holder community. And I just see some of these theories and things people are saying that just literally make no sense when you actually think about it. But people just sort of, believe these ideas that don't really hold up to logical scrutiny because they're, kind of feeling emotional. They need somebody to blame. And, I like opportunities like that or moments like that. The company, often faces these moments of intense doubt. And that tends to provide really the best setup for investors.
All right, thank you. How is FSD doing for you? Are you still in Los Angeles?
No, I'm back in San Francisco now. FSD Beta 12 is doing pretty well. I haven't gotten the 12.2 yet, so I'm hoping that I'll get that either today or this week. But from what we've seen so far, it was only on Hardware 3 cars, and no Hardware 4 cars had it yet.
Does anyone with a large following on X have FSD 12.2 yet? Like anyone we would know? Omar, you're on mute.
No, I don't think that it really has gone out to very many people except for some of the Wave 1 Tesla employees. So they would be under a strict NDA about it at this point. This is probably a little bit out there, but I'm kind of hoping that it has actually smart summon in it. We have seen some updates to the mobile app that, show that they're kind of working on getting smart summon back in there with the new V12 stack. So maybe that's something we could see. I'd say probably not. Probably it's a 12.3 or later thing. But, there is maybe a 5% chance or something like that. That would be just incredibly fun to test out. But yeah, we'll probably find out soon what's in 12.2. And I'm sure they're going to start sending it out to the external people outside the company pretty soon as well, if everything looks good in their internal batch.
Machine, I've been reviewing the data, audience retention data over the weekend, and I noticed that every time you come up, we lose some audience. And I think it has something to do with your profile picture. I think people are scared of the eye. That's my theory, because it can't possibly be your personality. You have great personality. Excuse me. So I'm guessing it's the profile picture.
Yeah, I think we all know it's the personality. It's totally a sad, Debbie Downer personality no one here wants to listen to. They want to pretend everything's fine, even if there's a fire in their house. And so instead of actually putting out the fire, they will just close their eyes and ears and hope for the best.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on FSD V12? Did you get a ride from Omar yet?
No, I'm still waiting, like a schmuck, sitting here waiting on the sidewalk, and he's never going to come.
We'll go on 12.2.
It's fine with me.
How was your weekend?
Well,
I think he was asking me.
you got 1,000 subscribers.
I did. Omar, thank you very much. Your the post that you made on YouTube was extremely helpful. Immediately increased follower count by about 200 subscribers. So we're now up to 1,050. And I pinned at the top of your screens a link. Ad revenue from YouTube allows me to keep these X spaces free for everybody. So if you could please subscribe for free, it's just a click. It would be helpful. The next goal, 10,000. And then we'll see from there.
So are you monetized now?
I need the watch hours, but that's going to come in the next few days. That's just a matter
How
of
many
time.
watch hours do you need?
4,000.
Hmm.
And we're up to about 200 a video at this point. So it'll be a few days, but we'll get there.
All right, everybody, you know what to do. Keep the videos of these spaces on in the background on autoplay all night.
Exactly. And I can actually make it easier for you. If you go on X Spaces playlist on my channel, there's 11 of them back to back to back. So you put it on and go for, whatever you do around town or go to sleep or what have you. And then by tomorrow, it would be done deal. And then we'll see. What do you guys think we should do differently to get to 10,000? Do you think we need to change it up a little bit? Or like any advice that you think we should implement?
Well, if you ever watch the news, they have those sort of newscaster voices. So I think that's kind of what we need to do. Ah, Yaman! Thanks, that kind of thing. We've got a great show for you today, guys.
Good
So
morning, good
buckle
morning. Exactly. Yeah, we can do something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I kind of like to just cut the first few minutes and kind of get rid of the introductions and go straight into. I think the viewers on YouTube appreciate that. So I think what I'm going to do is, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep doing YouTube lives. So right now we have 16 people in YouTube live. It's actually more than yesterday. And I'm not sure. Maybe I won't publish YouTube lives, but if people want to, like somebody said, X is lagging YouTube right now. So, I don't know. If people find YouTube live more convenient, if they can listen there. But I probably won't be publishing YouTube live because I think YouTube viewers appreciate the edited videos. So I'm going to edit, cut down on the gaps and the likes and the ums and the filler words by about 30%, rearrange certain sections every now and then publish that full video maybe. But yeah, we're still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure it out. But the next goal is to 10,000 and then 100,000 subscribers and then 1 million subscribers. And then in 5 years, Omar said we have non-zero chance of getting to 1 million listeners in this space. He said 0.1%, but I take it as non-zero chance, which is better than Meta's 0%. So
the only chance of this happening is the stock mooning. Your number of followers is just going to be in proportion to share price appreciation, in my opinion, after you've saturated the early batch.
yeah, that's always been true for all social media folks on Tesla, right? True for literally everybody.
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, right now we have about 5 million vehicles, Teslas on the roads, and in a few years we'll have tens of millions. So just based on that alone, you should see multiplying follower count for all social media people, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Omar, some people are concerned about Elon's tweets again this morning. Would you like to comment on it, or you want to talk about something else?
Yes. I think everybody should be panicking right now. What we saw was a horrible tweet this morning. The Disney logo has been turned upside down, and "These nuts" has been written in Disney font. This is really bad. I know a lot of you guys may see my videos and say, wow, foundation models for autonomy. The car can move around and just look at cameras and move through the city. That's probably worth something, but it's not worth anything if people don't like some of his tweets. So sell all your shares, sell them to me, sell them to Elon. I think he wants to up his stake in the company. But yeah, this is pretty bad. So, now I don't think he's going to change really. You go back for several years, and he's always offending people, right? During the pandemic, everyone said, "Whoa, we need to shut down everything," and he said, "Hey, we should not shut everything down. That sounds like a dumb idea." And everyone said, "Oh, Elon, you're horrible. You want to kill your workers." And, that was very unpopular. And I think he actually turned out to be right, but that's not really the point because, a lot of people were offended. So generally, he's just a very offensive guy. And, I think people should sell their shares, sell them to me. It's clearly never going to go up again, right? I mean, it went down yesterday, so it's probably just going to keep going down forever. So, just sell them to me, and then you won't worry about it. Then you can just like his tweets, retweet them, and not have to worry that he has destroyed your retirement with a D's nuts joke.
Machine, what do you think?
I think it was pretty funny. It's right in my line of sense of humor. I don't know. I mean, people are just looking for things to take out their frustration by the fact that they invested in a stock that, doesn't make that much money. And people keep ignoring the real issues. They want to blame it on, if only Elon wasn't tweeting these nuts, then he'd go back to Tesla and he would just make more money or reduce costs even further. And that's mostly nonsense. They don't know what the solution is. They don't even know what the problem is. They don't know anything. So they're just going to blame it on this. They're going to scapegoat him.
Yeah, and then he's tweeting, "Boobs rock." Boobs don't rock, okay? That is somebody's daughter, okay? And she is just as intelligent as you or me. She's more than her boobs. And Elon should know that. And I think he's lost a lot of customers because of it. It's no wonder that Tesla only grew, 38% in 2023 compared to 40% in 2022 when he's tweeting stuff like that.
I mean, think of where we've come now. It's 2024, and people now will get reprimanded for making the most obvious statements in the world. Boobs rock. That's supposed to be like debatable. Every, heterosexual man will say, yeah, we already knew that. No one would be offended by it. But now everyone's offended by anything. They do look for stuff to be offended by. And it's gone backwards. Things that were not offensive many years ago, now all of a sudden are. It's just an obvious statement. It's not insulting anyone. What's wrong with it?
Listen, I'll tell you why Tesla stock is down. And it's not because boobs rock. And it's not because of D's nuts. It's because of the Model Y. Okay? You look at the market, there's high inventories, people are discounting, and you got the Model Y, and Tesla's basically saying, look, we're offering a $1,000 discount if you buy it this month. And, they put out a bulletin saying, hey, no new Model Y this year, right? So people are basically coming to them and saying, oh, well, when's the new Model Y coming? Yeah, this Model Y is an amazing deal, but, is the new one about to come? So, this is like the bread and butter of their company. They sold 1.8 million cars last year. 1.2 million were Model Y, okay? So, yeah, this is potentially actually a concern, right? You got literally the majority of the products your company is selling is this one car, and now this new Model 3 has come out, and maybe some people are waiting. So if you kind of get that word out and you say, look, it's not coming, then maybe you can just get a lot of people to buy the Model Y. My roommate just bought a Model Y. Amazing deal. He loves it. But these discounts on really the primary products the company sells and statements the company has made that sort of confirms there could be a concern here are probably driving the market much more than anything Elon's saying, which I think the market is just kind of used to. So, if the numbers come out and it turns out to be great quarters, margins are stable, then great, nothing to worry about, the stock will rebound. But if this is actually a problem and they don't have an update to the Model Y until, 2025, then, maybe it is actually something that's going to be material.
Another problem I'm seeing is even though Tesla announced that it's not coming this year, some people still don't believe it. They still
I don't
think one's
believe
coming.
them. Of course they're going to say it's not coming. But, I could see like maybe China Q3, US like Q1, same as the Model 3, But of course they're going to try and like downplay it. But I mean, this, you had a ton of pent-up demand waiting for the new Model 3. Now that's out. Now people are waiting for the new Model Y. I get that it's really, sort of challenging to transition these products, but this rollout is, kind of problematic. And it kind of makes you think like, okay, what is the right way they should be doing this to minimize the impact on the company?
I actually believe them that it won't come out in North America this year. If we remember when the new Model 3 was launched, a lot of people were asking, when is it coming to North America? And then Tesla sent out a very similar notification to all of its staff saying, no new Model 3 in North America for 2023. And that ended up being the case. So even it probably will launch in Shanghai in mid to, probably Q3 at some point, the new Model Y, but just not North America until probably January or something of next year.
Right. Yeah.
So you're welcome. What else is new today?
I just put out a post that the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board wasn't happy about Dan O'Dowd using their logo or seal in his ad, Super Bowl ad yesterday, so they told him take that down. So that's kind of funny.
I just reposted that post by Sawyer. Let me just read that real quick. News. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board has issued a statement about Dan O'Dowd anti-Tesla Super Bowl ad. Quote, the NTSB had no involvement in the production of this advertisement, did not authorize the use of its seal, nor does it endorse the work of the Dawn Project. The agency has asked the group to stop the unauthorized use of the NTSB seal, end quote. National Transportation Safety Board is an independent U.S. government investigative agency responsible for civil transportation accident investigation.
I mean, the ad already played, so the damage is like already done. It's sort of over with. And if anything, this news will just give the ad more life. But it's interesting nonetheless.
Dan O'Dowd has not impacted FSD at all. He went to these guys, he tried to get it banned. They said, no, we think you're an idiot. So I think that just speaks volumes.
He went quiet for a while. He went quiet for a while, and he's back now, huh?
Yeah, I think people just kind of lost interest, They kept sending out the updates, they did the recall, whatever, but, they're not going to ban it, right? The regulators have taken the opinion that this is actually a very powerful technology to prevent crashes. So we actually want to improve it rather than ban it. And he's really not going to get what he wants, saying it should be pulled off the roads. They would never do that.
All right. So there's also other news about X creators and advertising. Would you like to tell us about that a little bit?
Yeah, so basically, and this is, something a lot of creators and advertisers have wanted for a while. But starting this month, advertisers on X can now run ads against a curated list of content creators. So essentially they can target, let's say if they just want to play ads on like tech-related channels or just Mr. Beast videos, they can start to do that so they can hyper-target the exact audience that they want instead of just saying, just only play ads on videos from people or content creators in the US. This allows a much more targeted approach, which is what, advertisers want.
All right, great. And then I see Joe Tegmeyer posted, big news from Gigatex today. The new vehicle outbound lot and transport truck pickup has been moved to the new west outbound lot. The old lot on the east side is now devoid of cars. This is a significant moment as production ramp capability is linked to the new end-of-line and outbound lot operations. Do you guys think this will lead to the next stage in Cybertruck production growth?
I mean, it's certainly a good sign. I don't see why not. I don't know where Tesla is on that Cybertruck ramp right now, to be honest. It's hard to tell.
Dozens per day is what I've been saying in this space. Machine, do you have a better handle on Cybertruck or Model Y production ramp at Giga Texas?
No, last I heard was maybe it was Troy estimating about 130 per week, which seems kind of in line with what you're saying, and nowhere near the 100 per day approximate that you guys thought would happen by the end of January. You and Meta betting against me, laughing at the bet that you would see at least 100 on the outbound lot by the end of February. I'm feeling confident right now.
Okay. Sawyer also posted last night, a base Model Y long range in the US is now 42.3% less expensive, almost half, than it was in late 2022. October 2022, it was $65,990. Today, it's $38,090, including the $7,500 federal EV credit.
Yeah, it's just getting more and more affordable.
Why do you think Tesla, for the first time, dropped prices mid-quarter and said these prices are going to go back up in March?
I mean, as Omar said, there is sort of an inventory issue, and there were a ton of people, because I know I've been getting DMs every day asking, is the new Model Y refresh coming out? And anytime there was a slight change, like in pricing going down, they're like, ooh, it's coming soon. When no. So this really was affecting sales negatively. And obviously, once the new 3 came out, all attention moved to a new Y. So I think a lot of people are just waiting for that. And it probably will come, later this year in Shanghai and, early next year for North America. But the Model Y hasn't really received a major update in a few years now since it got that interior refresh, a minor one. So it is time, but it's just sort of, we're in an unfortunate in-between period between refreshes where a lot of people are waiting. But the prices are so low, but not many people know about it, unfortunately, which is why I think Tesla's sort of ramping up its efforts on awareness and directly pointing to, look, this is more affordable than you might think it is. And we saw it for the first time. The whole Tesla executive team came out yesterday to like post about Tesla's post about saying how affordable it is, or to retweet it. And Elon, of course, quote posted it, which helped a little bit. Most of the impressions were from Elon's quote post, about 23 million of them out of the 24 million. But I don't know if it'll be enough. We'll see.
Machine, what's your theory? Why is Tesla cutting prices mid-quarter and then indicating with certainty that prices will go up in March?
I mean, my initial take is that it truly is a seasonal demand drop that they're expecting. And that this actually is, maybe I'm actually sounding optimistic, that this is really the bottom. And they're seeing this at the bottom, and they're saying, what's left, we have to cut prices just a little more because of the seasonal drop. Q1 is always the weakest, and then it gets better. And they're basically saying we're going to raise it back. And I don't think it's because of the Model Y refresh. I think it is just because it is seasonally weak, and that's it. But I don't know. I'm sounding optimistic. It's disgusting.
One thing I'll add is, something of note is that Tesla's inventory Model Y prices did not decrease by an additional $1,000. So this is just on the online configurator. I think it would be a bigger deal, more material if they change those inventory prices as well. So if anything, this is just encouraging people to take delivery sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that's a good point. So this discount actually doesn't cost them anything, because my buddy just bought a Model Y and they gave him a $5,000 inventory discount. So he basically got the white seats, the induction wheels, but they charged him the base price, essentially. And so, if you're ordering from the configurator as opposed to just picking one that's available in inventory, and then the other great thing about ordering from inventory is he could just pick it up like basically next day, is, so they're actually selling these custom orders at a higher price than if you just picked one out of inventory. It almost seems like they're just kind of experimenting with a little bit of a psychological game here. Like, oh, okay, I'm saving money if I just order it now as opposed to next month. Because I think some people were probably saying, all right, let me wait until the end of the quarter and, then maybe order it in the last month or something like that. So Elon gave his reason above. He said, since most people don't love to buy cars in the middle of the winter, Tesla's offering an incentive to do so. So, I think seasonality does play a part here, but there's other dynamics as well, right? There's been some FUD about EVs in the winter. You notice in that ad, they show a Model Y driving in the snow, sort of subtly implying, yes, it does actually work in the snow, right? So that may be playing it, part two. I think when you look at the Model 3, that may be playing a part too. So all of those may be factoring in. I think they're kind of just trying to play with incentives, see what the effect is on consumers when they, try these different approaches and see what works and what doesn't. But not really if you're kind of trying to just look at their pricing power, it doesn't seem like they're in a very strong situation right now, especially considering they probably want to do more than, 500,000 deliveries or around there every quarter this year.
If you're just looking at their pricing power, it doesn't look great right now, says Omar. Omar, do you think the primary reason is the high interest rates and seasonality? And do you think Tesla's pricing power will increase again before interest rates start coming down?
Yeah, I think interest rates will definitely give them a lot more pricing power because, so there's really multiple sort of aspects to it. One is just the sort of cost of financing. Now, the actual cost of financing is really only like, it's not going to make a difference in your car payment of even $100, right? We're talking about maybe like, $50 increase or something like that. So that's part of it. Yes, that does raise the cost of your payment. But there's also just credit availability, right? If you don't have good credit or, can't get a loan from a bank or something like that because, they feel like you have too much debt, too much credit card debt, whatever reason, you can't get a loan, right? You need a loan to buy a car. And then we had kind of like that Silicon Valley bank crisis where a lot of banks had interest rate exposure. So I think all of these factors play in. And as rates come down, they're going to have not just more pricing power because that monthly payment is lower, but I think you're also going to see, better credit availability, a stronger consumer balance sheet. And that's all going to allow them, I think, to, price the products have more flexibility in that. And I think really when the next gen vehicle comes out and they can sort of have that as their entry level compact crossover, they can sort of focus the Model 3 and Y on being more premium vehicles, maybe raise the prices there. And I think a lot of people will still choose to buy the Model 3 and Y just because they're a bigger physical size compared to that compact crossover. But you can have the next gen platform be that sort of entry level model. But for now, the Model 3 and Y are all we have. So they kind of have to serve that entry point into the brand.
All right. So are you still getting people excited about DMs, excited about Elon's T-shirt at the Super Bowl?
Oh my God, that was annoying.
How many
The ability
messages
of this
did you get?
community, like, to speculate is wild.
I think, man, people are just hopeful. Like they're looking for any signs for the stock price to be going up, even if it's just a picture on a
I told
T-shirt.
someone, like, out of all things, you think Elon's going to have a custom-made shirt that looks exactly like the one from Investor Day last year? Just to tease a stamped side body of a next-generation vehicle? Like, no. That's not what he's going to do.
How many DMs did you get?
I don't know, like maybe 20, 25, and then there's like many times more replies.
That is wild. Was anyone arguing with you? No, it is not the same picture.
Oh, yeah. Tons of people are like, nope, they're not the same. I'm like, okay, you're going to be disappointed.
Well, we have about 500 people in here right now. What advice would you give people if they were to DM you?
Think about it logically, not from a hopeful investor standpoint. And you'll probably come to the conclusion that, yeah, Elon's probably just wearing the 2023 Investor Day t-shirt. And it does look like a Model Y stamped body piece. And Google, like, Tesla 2023 Investor Day t-shirt. Look at the Google images. They're exactly the same shirt. They're not different.
Gotcha. So you're telling people to at least check their facts, maybe Google the question before they DM you, because I'm sure you get, over 100 messages a day?
Yeah, probably, maybe more sometimes.
Gotcha. Okay. What else are you guys looking forward to this week? Anything,
I
Machine?
don't know.
Machine, are you at Popeyes?
No, I'm at home with real food.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, what I'm looking forward to, I don't think you really want to know, but I'm honestly getting more into moving my positions into other stocks, and I'm looking forward to finding opportunities with real earnings growth that I think is actually kind of pretty obvious. So, yeah, just hedging more.
Well, here's what I don't understand. Just 2 weeks ago, you were heavily into leaps, and the stock dropped after that. So shouldn't you like the stock even more without any further news?
Yeah, I haven't changed that position at all. I went down more. I bought more. And I do expect some break back up. I'm speaking more, and that was more of a shorter term play. I'm speaking more to the full 2024 year expectations, which of course we don't know. Anything can happen. Any new news can come out. I'm just looking at other opportunities that I expect. Let's say a 30% increase in share price for another stock that I think is a pretty good bet to happen. Then if I, maybe at best case, I expect a 30% increase in Tesla stock. Then if I expect the same for another stock, I should be splitting my money to reduce overall risk if I have the same expected returns. So that's just kind of my sentiment. I just, no one cares to listen to this part, so.
That's
Shane,
okay.
how long have you been investing or trading in Tesla?
2017.
Nice.
I mean, it's an entirely different point in time than it was back then. The opportunities of growth were, pretty amazing, undervalued. People coming out with price targets based just on automotive that were many times higher than what the company was valued at the time. And so it made sense to allocate a high amount of capital there. It was almost low risk, high reward at 2019, for sure. That's when I moved even more in. And now, I just doing over the weekend, even just some base calculations of making some assumptions about operating margin. And if we get a response back to an operating margin, let's say of 15%, which I think is reasonable but optimistic, like that's not a low operating margin. And then if you do base napkin math calculations on automotive revenues, service revenues, energy revenues, what would your bottom line operating incomes be on, say, 5 million vehicles sold per year, 160 gigawatt hours of energy? And you get something, depending on some assumptions, you might get something like 25 to 30 billion dollars a year in operating income. So, depending on what the market assigns as a reasonable PE ratio to that, your market cap could be anywhere from $600 billion, $900 billion, maybe over $1 trillion. And, we're already at 600 billion. So I feel like the market's pricing in not all, but a lot of their Tesla's growth to, 4 or 5 million cars a year, high amount of energy packs being produced. The question is, that top of the line percentages do make a difference in terms of operating income, and then the expectation of future growth from that standpoint. So I really think most of the future value, if there's growth in the stock, is going to be from FSD and Optimus. I think the market is pricing a lot of the hardware business in, and so that's going to be very volatile in my opinion.
It's interesting how the investment thesis has changed somewhat. And it's like when I went all in 2018, the Tesla's Megapack didn't exist yet. There wasn't any talk of, the Optimus robot. It was really just EV adoption, their cars, and FSD. That was sort of the two biggest things, right? And then obviously the energy business became a bigger and bigger topic. Optimus, other things too. Yes, it's changed quite a bit. I feel like the stock is definitely less volatile than it was between that period and like 2022-ish.
It's definitely less volatile than back then. I mean, you'd have massive drops over small pieces of news. That doesn't happen as much now. The difference, I agree, is that, the investing case back then was actually pretty clear. And if you were an enthusiast of the renewable energy feature, electric vehicles, that you could see a clear path just on knowledge on that topic of how they could grow. And it made sense. And now it's a little more convoluted. I wouldn't say convoluted or nuanced. That's like now you have to understand machine learning, AI, robotics, and it's all very exciting. But what is the bottom line value that's going to be added? And that's, I think, harder to value. So I think that The downside, there's downside protection because the automotive is pretty steady, and we see all the other competitors essentially failing right before our eyes. So I don't think there's that much downside, but then there is upside. But the upside is mostly in machine learning AI. So that's going to be the dictate. I really think, because even mega packs, if you calculate out like how much these can contribute, it's not zero. It's something decent, but it's not going to move. It's not worth, multiple hundreds of billions of dollars. Maybe like $100 billion, which is a lot of money for any company. But for Tesla, it's like a 15% move. So it's really going to be about FSD. So we're all reliant on Omar's drives, basically. That's our insight to the stock. The future of the stock is Omar's drives. That's it.
Omar, we're cheering you on. So that's a good transition into FSD. There's a question in the comments by Habib. How is FSD handling school buses? Have you encountered school buses stopping for kids? And how does FSD 12 handle that? And then in the replies, Habib posted a video of his FSD 11.4.9 recognizing this bus, but ignoring the flashing light and stop sign and plans a path to go around it. And we have now Tesla owners, Silicon Valley, welcome as well.
What's going on, everyone?
How is FSD doing for you? Do you have 11.4.9?
Yeah, I'm still a peasant waiting for V12. But yeah, no, it's been overall it's been good. I mean, I'm probably one of the few people that has the legacy 2018 Model X with the 11.4.9, like 11.4.9 or whatever it's called. So I actually, a lot of times, to be honest, like I don't get all the crazy nags like everyone else is experiencing, because there's no internal camera inside my car. But there's just more and more drives that I take. FSD is just driving me the full way there. And again, I live in the burbs of San Francisco, more in like the San Jose area. So I'm not obviously dealing with, some of the various factors that you'll get with like an urban city like San Francisco. But as far as the suburban areas and even like small towns, it's handling really well. So I'm really excited to just see how V12 will even change that and make it even more seamless experience. But really at this point, most of my drives, even to work, which can sometimes in traffic be about an hour 15 each way a couple times a week, it's pretty much handling all of it. So, I'm pretty excited about what is going to be possible with V12.
Machine?
I'm sorry, did you say San Jose is a suburb of San Francisco?
From what most people know, yes. But yeah, no, I mean...
It's a more suburban environment.
Yeah, it's not like Lombard Street or some of the, what's it called? You have all...
Well, he lives in Los Gatos, not San Jose. But that's like a little too obscure for even most people, probably.
Yeah, so I just
Gatos
stick with the major city. Yeah, I stick with the major cities that people will mainly know. But yeah, no, San Jose technically has 1 million people, so it's a pretty big area, but more people know San Francisco, so I just typically just kind of explain it's more of like a suburban area versus San Francisco is truly a city, with a lot of like buses, railing, like light rail and all that stuff.
Omar, you heard Habib's question about FSD, V12, and school buses. Have you ever encountered a school bus?
I haven't seen any school buses yet. I don't tend to see a lot of school buses in San Francisco. People don't really have kids here. They just have dogs instead. So,
dude, that's the same in Austin. That literally, I was thinking the same exact thing. I was like, wow, people are like thinking of their dogs as their kids here.
Yeah, you'd probably be more likely to see a bus of dogs than a bus of kids here.
Machine?
I purposely ran over a few kids by a bus on a crosswalk the other day.
So this is why audience retention drops when you put the image in people's minds of you running over kids in your Tesla.
Well,
why
That's
the
why
NTSB had
half
to
the
put out a
people.
statement against this show.
So if you'd like to counter machines' negative impact on the audience retention, please go up to the top of your screens and click that youtube.com/@value announcement and subscribe to the channel. I need your help to get machines' negativity out of the space.
Liz, you gotta let me finish. So in the name of collecting data, I did it. But then I realized I only have hardware 2.5, so it was a waste of data collection. Sorry, kids.
You're unbelievable.
Thank you.
Jimmy.
That's what your mom said last night.
So I live in St. Paul, Minnesota, in the suburbs, and I drive FSD with buses around, and there's quite frequently stops, and I've never had an issue with my Tesla going through. And I don't even think it's the stop sign. I think it's just the sheer size of the actual bus stopping that my car just kind of stops and waits. It doesn't try to perform like a maneuver to go around it or anything. It literally just stops and sits there. And there actually is a bus stop right in front of my house that the school stops at every day. And it's kind of a tricky spot because I get off a main road onto my road, and then probably 40 feet in front of my house would be where the bus stops. And then my car literally just stops, wait till the bus moves, and then it continues going forward and then takes the turn into my driveway. So I've never had like an actual issue with my car trying to like navigate around a parked bus or anything. But in the city, when I go downtown in like St. Paul or Minneapolis, if there's a city bus and it's parked off on the side of the road, my Tesla will try to like inch out to the left if there's room and then go around that. But there's no flashing lights or anything on those buses because those tend to just pull over randomly on the side of the road.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Any questions for the speaker board? You're welcome to request to speak and ask your question.
I think my Super Bowl poll from yesterday is about to end. Should we look at the results?
I mean, yeah, go ahead. What did the results say? I think, this advertising conversation, I agree with Omar that Tesla's already doing a great deal. The other day, I was on my long walk around Austin, and, in my pit stop at a coffee shop, I saw 2 Tesla employees giving test drives, and there's no Tesla store nearby, so they must have kind of come out here with their Model S and Model X, giving 2 dozen test drives, they said. They looked really nice, the new red. Sawyer?
Yeah, the new red is nice. All right, so the question was, do you think Tesla spending $70 million on a 30-second Super Bowl ad would be a good investment for the company? We had a total of 768 replies. We had 37,242 votes.
Hey guys. Hello. Yeah, so I've been following you guys, all of you, for quite some time.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, Sawyer, go ahead.
It's all good. Yeah, so a little over 37,000 votes. 37% said yes, 41% said no, 10% said I'm not sure, and then just 12% said show results. So it looks like the no's won that one.
Oh, wow. So marginally no's won. I wasn't expecting that. What do you think about those results, Sawyer?
I thought the no's would win, but it looks like just marginally so, 4% difference. I think a lot of people are of the opinion that Elon or Tesla can just tweet things out and that's enough exposure. And, maybe that's correct. And that the biggest issue right now is just high rates. And once those start coming down, probably like June-ish, we'll start to see the, potential positive effect of that for Tesla. I think Elon is right that Q1 is seasonally low for car sales. I don't know if that's the whole reason why they're doing the sale. I don't really know what to make of this poll. I would just say that it seems like people are pretty split. And as time has gone on, like let's say if Elon came out all of a sudden and it was in support of doing like a Super Bowl ad, obviously these results would have skewed heavily towards yes. So I think people just sort of fall in line with whatever Elon says often. But, I don't think Elon's all that excited about advertising right now. Maybe that'll change over time. Probably not. But, yeah, we'll see how things go the rest of the year for advertising.
Omar, do you have anything to say on that? Otherwise, we have 2 new speakers I'd like to go to. And just a quick reminder to people who may not be familiar with the space, maybe you're new in the space. If you come up to speaker board, please stay on mute and raise your hand until you're called upon. Otherwise, we have people talking over each other, and that's not good for the listeners. Machine?
Yeah, I've noticed since you've updated this new space that you've become a lot more polite to people, except me. So that's been weird.
Yeah, I'm trying to be
You
nicer.
might get more views if you shout at people sometimes.
I'm trying to be nicer.
Tell us the stock's going 3x this year.
Yeah, right. Tesla Yoda. That's all coming out in the edit.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, just wondering if when you're running these spaces, is there a way to run a space for people who are brand new to Tesla, so that they can maybe have like an FAQ session with Omar or select panel, whether that would help. And then on the app side, I was wondering if it's possible for someone to create an app where owners can add their vehicles onto this network to help give demos to people who are interested. I don't know if there's an app out there.
Yeah, FAQ on the spaces, I'm not sure. I think the best way to do that would be if people want to, like if you can't come up to a speaker board, there's probably a reason, but you can always reply to the space. And there are people in the replies that are having conversations. So somebody will answer your question. If it's a very basic question and you couldn't find an answer on Google, you can leave a reply to any of the speakers and somebody will see it. And that's probably the best way to do it, because I don't want to waste, because what happens to Tesla Yoda, if I allow that, is we get the same questions over and over again every single day from different people. And then it's just a waste of time. But thank you for the suggestion. Cyclone?
Hey guys, yeah, I live in Atlanta and I'm running 1149 on a hardware 4 Model Y. And my biggest issue is a yield sign. So it treats the yield signs like a stop sign. Just want to see if anyone else is having that issue. But last night, driving home from the Super Bowl game, this car drove completely different. It was driving a lot smoother. It almost felt like what Omar was talking about, how it's a completely different drive. So the second question I have is, do you think we're operating like in shadow mode or something where they can just turn this stuff on and off and it drives completely different? Because what'll happen is that it'll drive nice like for one night Sunday and then go back sometimes Monday and Tuesday, to its old ways.
Omar?
Well, there are some things that can change between updates, but generally it's going to be the same. Sometimes there's some networks running in the background that are waiting to be validated with data coming back from the fleet, and then they kind of flip the switch on. Sometimes there's some configuration they can change, but generally it's kind of just going to stay how it is. In terms of the yield signs, that is an issue that pretty much everybody experiences. The 11 series would often stop at yield signs as opposed to yielding. V12 fixes this issue. So, just in general, any issues that you guys have with V11, they're literally throwing away all of that code. So 300,000 lines of code, a lot of the bugs that you're seeing, a lot of the behaviors that you've just accepted as a fact of life for years, because that's just how the code has been, they've just thrown it all away now. So hopefully V12 starts rolling out either this month or next month to the whole fleet. Elon said in the coming weeks on the call. So, hopefully they're getting pretty close to that. But I think it should fix a lot of these issues, including the yield sign issue.
Yeah, thanks, Omar. Appreciate that. Yeah, it seems like last night I swear to God, I think I was driving V12 because the car was driving completely different. It was a perfect ride. Just want to share that. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for the question. Machine, do you want me to be nicer to you? No, right? I mean, you have a thick skin, you can handle it. You enjoy the banter as much as I do, right?
No.
Do you want me to be nice? I'll be nicer to you if you want.
No, I don't want you to be nicer to me. I just noticed.
He told his therapist about, how he's so hurt.
You've been fake nice to everyone else. That's what I've noticed. It's not
Well,
any change.
the thing is, like, if I'm doing banter with anybody, then that means I feel closer to them than, somebody I just met maybe. But I noticed that, some people don't appreciate that. So I'll generally be nicer unless if someone has proven that they enjoy it as much as I do and, they can handle it and thick skin.
So you feel close to me?
I mean, we've been in this space for like 2 years, dude.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? I probably spend more time with you than you spend with your wife. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, you pulled your pants down in his dream.
Yeah.
No, that was you.
Oh, okay.
You pulled the pants down, Omar. Disgusting.
Why are you dreaming about us? And why are you talking to your therapist about me?
I did not talk to my therapist about you two.
Yes, you did.
Well, maybe you
Talk
should.
gets around.
God.
I know your therapist in Atherton. I saw her at the bar this weekend. She said you were crying. You said you just want Yaman to like you, but he's always so mean. You even tried to agree with him that the bot would get to $1 trillion first, and he just, doesn't recognize your friendship.
Jimmy.
Yeah, man, I don't want to waste any time, but you should just DM me. I think I can help you with audio, like actually sending you physical, like microphones and things like that. Just DM me and we can talk offline.
Yeah, next week. I'm busy this week. Next week, definitely. But somebody told me yesterday that my audio is the best it's ever been. Do you not think that's the case?
No, I have a lot of like professional equipment that we're upgrading, and this stuff has hardly been used. And I'm like, I don't want to sell it, but I could maybe give it to you, and it would improve your stuff.
All right, yeah, we can talk about it. We have a question in the comments. Lance Walred asks from YouTube Live, thoughts around Cybertruck in Japan? Sawyer, this is probably for you. Thoughts around Cybertruck in Japan? What is the overall strategy? How many countries is this going to be sold into?
The Cybertruck, where will it come to Japan? Was that the question?
Didn't we see Cybertruck in Japan after China?
So it's going on tour, yeah. I didn't know if he meant like deliveries eventually will start there, but yeah, it's going on tour this month in Japan.
Yeah, I think the question essentially is Tesla taking Cybertruck around the world just as for marketing tool, or will it bring Cybertruck to these markets eventually?
No, I think it's mostly just the marketing thing for sure.
Omar, do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe there's a possibility it could come in time, maybe with some significant, redesigns, maybe a second gen or something like that. But it really is just kind of a brand thing, It's kind of a halo product, and it has some marketing value, whether you're actually able to buy it or not.
Sawyer, what do you say to people who have placed their reservations of the Cybertruck years ago? They placed even their orders months ago, and they still don't have a VIN.
I mean, I would just say you waited 4 years. What's a few more months? I don't know. These things take time to ramp up. You can't predict exactly when you'll get your truck, but it'll come eventually. You put down $100 originally, refundable. Not a huge hurdle there. But yeah, if you put the actual order in for the foundation series, you want it soon. But you'll get it this year, probably.
If somebody really wants a Cyberbeast, would you recommend them to switch to Cyberbeast at this point, or still hold out or wait for a dual motor?
No, I can't really recommend any foundation series. I think the better value is to just wait for like the $80,000 dual motor all-wheel drive and then just get the EV tax credit if you can. I think that's the better value. But if you just want it first, then yeah, just go for like a dual motor foundation series because those seem to be being made in higher quantities and people get those quicker.
Sawyer, do you think Cybertruck's popularity is leading to higher orders for sexy vehicles today?
I don't know if there's like how much of a halo effect has had thus far. I think as more people get it, because every time we see a video online of someone like an owner driving it or it's just parked in parking lot, everyone takes out their phones and takes photos of it and asks questions like, "Hey, what is this thing?" I think as like tens of thousands of these things are on the road in the U.S., that'll sort of grow. So maybe then it would have an impact, but right now there just aren't enough, I think, on the road where it's probably having a hugely material impact.
That's probably true, although in Austin, they're definitely proliferating. Just yesterday, I saw 2 in a row within 1 minute, which was a first. People are like, why don't you take a video? I'm like, I just want to enjoy the moment as the Cybertruck rolls by. And I wish the same on others in different parts of the country at some point. Omar, do you think there has been any halo effect from the Cybertruck on sexy vehicles?
Well, I think it's definitely generated sort of a marketing awareness, right? And everybody's saying, oh my God, we need advertising. We need more people looking at these things. This is causing people to open up Google and do some research and check out the website and check out the other products too. 2 million people are getting this offer. They can get $1,000 off if they have a reservation. So I do think there's, some level of attention being brought to Tesla from it. I mean, pretty much everyone who has one says people are stopping, they're taking pictures, they're asking questions. Like, every Tesla sold is really a walking billboard, and a Cybertruck even doubly so, or maybe even 10 times as much as a Model Y or something, in terms of the number of heads it turns, eyes it attracts, and people who just start asking questions about EVs and maybe think about buying one. So there is some value there. It's kind of hard to quantify. There probably also were some people who are maybe waiting to buy a Tesla who would have bought a sexy vehicle otherwise because they want a Cybertruck. But deliveries are starting to happen slowly. It's definitely not a fast rate of deliveries, but I am seeing real people get their deliveries. Like, actually, Ryan from the Kilowatts called me this weekend, and he was like, "Hey, I'm in a Cybertruck. I'm like right, down the block from you. Should I come pick you up?" And I was like, you know what? I'm like kind of tired. I just drove all night, got here at 3 a.m. And I was like, wow, well, I can't believe I'm turning down a Cybertruck ride. But that other guy already gave me a Cybertruck ride and let me drive it. And another guy had a Cybertruck. So they are getting out there anymore. It isn't that kind of like, wow, I've never seen a Cybertruck thing anymore. So it is happening slowly. It's ramping up. And I expect it to continue to.
We have a question and replies for Omar on FSD, but before that I have a question on Cybertruck. But before that, quick reminder to scroll up to the top of your screens and subscribe to the YouTube channel so that the ad revenue can keep these spaces free and open for everybody. It's free to subscribe, just one click, but it really helps. Omar, the question for Cybertruck is, can you describe to people, you said, obviously in your area, you're going to see more Teslas and more Cybertrucks, and I will see more Teslas and more Cybertrucks in Austin. But can you describe to people how riding in a Cybertruck different from other Teslas?
Yeah, I mean, long story short, it's the best vehicle in Tesla's lineup. And it's the flagship of their lineup. So it's the most expensive Tesla vehicle you can buy right now. It's just sort of very beautiful and imposing in person. You kind of see it from afar, and it's just got this really, simple, striking design. That's the thing I think that sets it apart the most. When Tesla first started with the sexy lineup, electric vehicles were so different that they didn't really want to stray too much from conventional auto design. And, they kind of were pretty conventional with the sexy lineup. Then with the Cybertruck, they said, okay, we're kind of an established company. For the first time, this isn't a bet the company thing. Let's try something a little different. And I think they came up with something a little bit striking. It kind of has some like Lamborghini, like designer sort of striking vibes to it. And people are just sort of naturally drawn to it. So if you want something that's kind of like very different and out there, this is like the hottest car in the market. And then, of course, it's a Tesla. It's fast, it's electric, it's got Tesla software, it's got this great display, great UI. It has FSD and autopilot capabilities. It's got supercharging. But it's this big, like, North American vehicle. It's a truck. You got tons of room in there. It's super comfortable. It's super smooth with the new air suspension. It's got a longer range capability than any other Tesla vehicle when you factor in the range extender capability. So basically, it's the best Tesla you can get in North America right now.
One thing that you appreciate about the Cybertruck in person that it can't really come out through pictures online is the slight curvature of the vehicle not only through the front but also on the roof. When you see photos of online, you just assume the roof is completely flat, but there is actually a slight curvature to it just for aerodynamics and probably strength reasons too, rigidity. But yeah, I encourage people to look out for that because it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it feels incredibly solid. You go in, you've got this windshield that goes over your head, so it's like a Model X windshield. And you just have a level of space and comfort, a level of utility, combined with, of course, all the things you love about a Tesla: performance, speed, supercharger network, all of that. So I think as more of them get out, it's really going to be explosive. This is one car that they are not cutting prices on, that they don't have any problem generating orders to long outpace the amount of supply they have. So hopefully they can ramp up to a larger percentage of their installed capacity. And I think as more of these things get out there and people try them, people drive them, like the steer-by-wire is really great. It just makes it so easy to maneuver this vehicle around. You've got this massive vehicle and all of the comfort and utility that comes along with it, but you drive it with steer-by-wire and it just feels like driving a Model 3 or a Model Y. I mean, the turning radius, they said, is actually better than a Model S.
Well, we have the Cybertruck expert on the speaker board right now, but before we go to Greg, let me get the question from Hardik. Hardik, you may unmute yourself and ask a question.
Hey, thank you. No, I think these are all great positive things about Tesla, but I feel like majority of the audiences don't know it. Do you think a community can get together to create a positive Tesla ad to fight some of this negative bias? I mean, I would be willing to chip in a few bucks, and think there are enough Tesla investors who would be willing to do the same thing. If they don't advertise it, how can we go from advertising by word of mouth to a mass market? And I wasn't sure if anybody had any ideas or comments around that.
Yeah, we're doing an ad competition. Exactly, almost like you described.
How do I pitch in some money to that?
There'll be a website going up soon, and you can see all the details there and vote on which ads you think are the best. And you can tip any individual creator of an ad if you think they did a good job. All the money goes directly to them. And there's also going to be a prize for the video that gets the most votes. So more details coming soon.
There you go. Greg, welcome. How are you?
Howdy. I'm all right. How you doing?
Doing well. What's the latest from Giga Texas and the Cybertruck production?
A lot of new hires, people struggling with connecting things correctly has been a consistent issue, but a lot of things getting worked out too and pain points being learned about. So that's good. I mean, that's obvious. You're seeing it now. This is a couple weeks ago I was told exactly that, and now we're seeing the benefits of that. You're seeing castings pile up, which is a very good indication of what they're planning to produce. Positive momentum, but it's definitely a slower ramp than I thought it was going to be for sure.
Have you seen any recent pictures of the body recent videos where you can kind of tell that the quality of production is improving. Are you satisfied with the production quality at this point?
Yeah, I think they're doing a really freaking good job for what it's worth. I actually had a follower drive out from LA this weekend with his truck and got to play with his on Saturday. Shout out Scott, thank you so much. Had a blast. And his was of 700, I believe, series VIN. I forget. I have a picture somewhere, but I thought everything lined up super duper well. There was a couple things that he had been in service for, but they were known knowns already by the production team that they've got fixes out for it. So these are things that, again, they've worked out. One of the things that fixes a lot of the little things that they had that they could fix over software update was fixed last week. It's not in the release notes of it, but there are certain little things that were addressed inside of that firmware update release that rolled out. I think it was like last Tuesday or Wednesday. But they had been sitting on that for a hot minute. I'd say about a week. But that was ready to go.
Do you have your VIN yet?
No, I don't. I just checked. 3-4 minutes ago.
Greg, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
How often do you check?
It's pretty bad, but it's gotten a lot better. I know now it's random which way they notify you, but it seems that there's either an email or a text that goes out 60% of the time, but it seems like 40-ish% of the people that I've talked to along the way have just discovered their VIN inside their app with no notice from Tesla. So I do continue to check, but I'm also just trying to chill out and quit ripping my hair out of my head by waiting for that notification to go off. But it seems like it's almost the delivery center end of things is what discerns who gets a text versus an email versus nothing at all until they maybe call you. But I check several times a day still. I'd say at least once every other hour, if not more.
All right, there's a question from YouTube Live for Greg. But before that, just a quick reminder that ad revenue from YouTube allows this X space to be free and open to everybody. So if you could please go up to the top of your screens, subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is free to do, and like and repost that post. I would appreciate that. Greg, the question for you is, when do you think Tesla will start producing the dual motor Cybertruck, not the Foundation series? This question comes from Boomer45.
What's up, Boomer? Good question. I don't think that we're seeing non-Foundation series production until at the earliest November. They're pretty well booked out for the year. That was something that was said on the call too. And like I said, the ramp's going slower than hoped. But as it stands right now, they're having no issue whatsoever capturing the additional $20,000 in Foundation series markup revenue cost. But you are getting some cool things for the money. So if you're waiting for that, I get it. It's another $7,500 if you qualify, but there's some pretty sweet value that goes with that Foundation series too. And if you need a vehicle now, that's probably going to be where you're going to want to be at, is getting a Foundation series.
Great. And there's a question for you from Theo in the replies to the space. When did Gregor Truck order his Cybertruck?
Thanks, Teo. I was able to order on December 14th. I got it right about this time of day. So I almost texted you, Sawyer, but is there a track of how many waves have been sent out? Maybe I did text you about that just to kind of see where the waves are aligning with the delivery figures. But one thing to note on those delivery figures and order dates and stuff is you have to be in an activated state. And as it stands right now, the known knowns is there's 3 activated states, but there will be more here very shortly.
Sawyer, did you hear Greg's question?
No. What was the question?
Do you have a spreadsheet or anything of the email wave dates for Cybertruck configurations?
No. I stopped counting after the 10th wave or something. It was just all in my head, but I didn't keep a spreadsheet or anything of it.
I feel like I did text you that too. Hey, do we know what the dates were?
Greg, I meant to get your opinion on something, which I think I know what your answer will be, but this is more for the audience. On the Cybertruck order page right now, not the Foundation one, just the normal one that states, the rear-wheel drive, the all-wheel drive, the Cyberbeast for $100,000. It says for the all-wheel drive and the Cyberbeast, delivery in 2024. I take that to mean that deliveries of that trim will start in 2024, not that if you place an order right now, that you are essentially, they're saying that you will get it in 2024. Is that your opinion?
Yeah, I like the rear wheel drive. I know they've got a couple road test units out there, so that's something that they're finishing up. I could see there being some rear wheel drive units getting delivered in Q4, but I don't think that it's going to be one that you would order today. I think that the deliveries would start. So
it doesn't make sense to me for Tesla to have, like a 2 million unit backlog or reservation backlog. Obviously, most of those won't convert. But for them to just say a delivery in 2020, it doesn't make sense, for it to be, oh yeah, you can just order now and you'll get it this year. It's going to be a long wait.
Yeah, there's a few things that straight up don't make sense along the way so far. And one of them that kind of glares at me is like Elon's never said the price of the Cybertruck. He's never said the range of the Cybertruck, certain things like that. And then if you jumped into the page, some things that are laid out are funky too. Like that exactly right there, and the estimated price. Like there's just some gray area things, but they're sort of trying the waters. But the demand is certainly there that they're not going to really have to adjust the price. And if anything's been implied, it's that they could actually increase the price. That's the one thing that has been said. But they could go the other way too, but that's pretty unlikely. But I do think that there is a chance that, yeah, you see rear-wheel drive non-foundation series in like late Q4. Cyberbeast though, no shot. All-wheel drive units non-foundation. I don't think that's very likely, but like I said a minute ago, I could see there being some maybe very, very end of the year, but they could be making foundation series all the way into Q1 of next year.
That's wild.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting when you sort of look at kind of what Tesla traditionally was or what Tesla has been historically. It was a very sort of rare car, right? So in the Roadster, it was a six-figure car, very rare. Model S, it became more common, but, still kind of a six-figure car. Then even in the early days of the Model 3 ramp, yeah, they were making them, they were more affordable, but they were ramping production very slowly. There hadn't been a lot of them out there. Nowadays, Model 3 and Y, two best-selling EV models in the world. You can go to your local Tesla delivery center and they've probably got a Model 3 or a Model Y right there that matches what you want that you can come pick up. And they've become kind of these cars for ordinary people. So it's also interesting, sort of with Cybertruck production ramping, it does have some of that sort of traditional Tesla lore, that it's sort of this rare thing that not that many people can get one, that it's kind of expensive, it's the best Tesla. And, it's kind of a contrast to what the Model 3 and Y have become. I mean, I would hope that Cybertruck eventually becomes more common too. But right now, it's kind of a hard thing to get your hands on, even if you do have $100,000 burning a hole in your pocket.
Yeah, I remember late in the summer, Omar, we were kind of saying like, maybe this time next year you'll be able to just grab a Cybertruck, like an inventory unit. I don't think that, and maybe 2 years, it's gonna be weird. Like money policies are a little funky right now too. Auto lending is tightening, so maybe we see some foundation series orders fall through. But yeah, it's a very, very unusual. Was there a foundation series Model Y, for instance, founders? That wasn't foundation, but I don't know. Was there? Yeah, exactly. Like, I know they've done founder series of every other vehicle except for the Y. Then just to throw that, and the semi, obviously, there's not really a founder series semi, nor should there be. Yeah, it's such a weird, and they've laid the roadmap out. That's the other odd thing. Like, we know the lineup that's here and coming. We know the range extender's coming. Yes, it will happen. Yes, it is coming. That is a for sure happening thing.
Wes Hicks.
Thanks, Yaman. Hey, just some quick questions. This is for Sawyer and Gregor Truck or anybody else, I guess. I ordered a Cyberbeast, but I didn't see that there might be a delivery date in the summer or end of 2024. I've called the local office trying to see if I can switch to the regular all-wheel drive, if I would lose my place in line, or if instead I would be near the front, based on the date that I placed the order. Do you guys know by chance? So the local office said I would keep my place in line because of the RN number, but it didn't sound like they really knew what they were talking about. I'm just curious if you guys have heard from anybody else or the answer to that.
I have had followers who have successfully switched their order from a Cyberbeast to an all-wheel drive Foundation series and kept their place in line.
How would you know that you kept your place in line? Do you? So I could look.
Well, Tesla sort of confirms that. Again, I would maybe call around to a couple different Tesla locations and get different opinions. But it sounds like they're just hooking people up because this is just sort of a unique situation. Not everyone wants to wait, and it seems like they'd almost prefer to make you a dual motor rather than a tri motor right now, which is interesting. But I would just call around just to double check. But there have been followers of mine and I've confirmed via like screenshots and other things. So it is real. I just don't know if they're doing if it's just like a company policy or if this is just these individual cases. I'm not sure of that.
On the screenshot, did it mention anything about keeping their place in line, or was it just a screenshot of switching?
It's just a screenshot of switching, yeah.
Okay.
But then the person told them, they'll keep in place in line. But I guess I don't know if they ever got official confirmation of that.
And a related question for you guys is, do we have any official word? I know there's speculation that they're doing the all-wheel drive only right now for simplicity, but is there any official word or any inside information about why they're only doing all-wheel drive for the moment?
The third motor is a challenge. They are making beasts. In fact, I do know of a customer that's a non-employee that has gotten a beast VIN. He's in California, and he did get a VIN on Thursday or Friday this past week. Breaking, if you want, Sawyer. That's very big news, obviously, to start seeing that wheel turn for people. The employees are less forthcoming with them getting their VINs, it seems like, but this is confirmed. It's a customer that I think he was in LA, if I remember right, that got his VIN, and he was a 12.8 order. So like they are doing them, but it's the third motor that's a difficulty, and then I think they finish it by hand when they put that motor assembly in the truck, because the line's not built out to support manufacturing those or something like that. Is kind of hard to discern. I don't ask too many questions. Once I get an answer to a question, it doesn't lead to too many questions. Just, okay, I understand.
Yeah, right on. No,
what date did you? Yeah, what date did you order, Wes?
I think it's December 21st.
That's my birthday. Congrats! Happy birthday to me. You get a truck. What state are you in, man?
I'm in Tennessee, in Memphis.
I don't know the plan for Tennessee, but with you being a beast, I'd say that if I was throwing a dart at the board, you're like July, August, September. I would bet you're pretty early, but it would be a while. But even an all-wheel drive, like if you had an all-wheel drive right now, for instance, you're not in a state that's activated, so it doesn't even like matter. It's weird, but the RNs don't really seem to matter either. Obviously, there is some rhyme and reason to the queue of configuration emails, but then once you're actually configured, it's just pretty based on your date, it seems like. Once you're through that RN number thing of being configured, then it just is kind of by your configure date, it seems, so far.
Great info. That makes me think that maybe I should not switch to the all-wheel drive.
If you want your truck like a couple months later, but here to test, the guy went and drove a beast on Saturday. He goes, dude, Greg, you're not allowed to drive this thing. I was like, why? He's like, you're going to end up buying a beast too. Like, don't do it. It's insane. It's just acceleration, but like overall, it's ridiculous that you're just pounding down the road in this tank of a vehicle. And it's extremely fast and it's super fun. It's like, don't do it. Bad idea financially.
Thank you. And my last question for Omar. I missed the first 5 minutes of this. Omar, did you get 12.2? And if not, do you have any idea when you'll get it?
I didn't get it yet, but I'm hoping I'll get it soon.
Hey, thanks, everybody.
Wes, if you are late to the space, please make sure you put in half day of PTO into the system. Thank you.
Will do.
Any other questions, comments for the speaker board? You may request to speak. The only thing is, if you come up to the speaker board, please make sure you stay on mute until I call on you. Otherwise, people start talking over each other. We're now at the 90-minute mark. Going well. We can keep it going for another half hour, 45 minutes if you guys want. Greg, what else is on your radar?
Really my VIN, man. It clouds me up so much because my VIN is, yes, it's personally my VIN, but it's just progress to the overall movement of additional states coming online and stuff because I'm in an unactivated state.
Greg, how are you financing the vehicle? Are you paying cash or are you taking a loan?
Yeah, good question. I did go through credit union like you suggested, Omar. I did get a 549 through obviously it's a local credit union. They all are generally local. And then I have my Tacoma and the 3, which I sold the 3. And I'll sell the Tacoma, and that'll end up being like 40,000 bucks of a down payment. Plus, I have 30 grand that I had saved up. I have a little more cash I could do too, but the payment feels reasonable at $600-ish a month for that remaining $42,000 financed over the $70,000 of effectively down payment. So
yeah, the reason I was asking is because I went through the Tesla app to do the financing. I'm probably going to do it through a credit union too, but I wanted to just go through the Tesla app and see what they offered as well. And so I got approved for a loan through them. And I went back to check on, see if I had my VIN, and I didn't have a VIN yet, but it said, okay, make sure you do all the steps to avoid delays to your delivery. And I look and it said, credit offer expired, resubmit. So, I wonder if that impacted anything on my order. I could just be maybe overthinking it or something, but I went ahead and, sort of resubmitted it just so that it doesn't, it shows all my steps marked as done. And they can assign me a VIN. So if you ordered back in December and here we are in February and you still don't have a VIN, that might be worth rechecking to make sure that everything's good for your order.
I submitted mine as a third-party loan and have it all plugged in, but that was I was really curious, like, dude, on your end, you're weird because you're like December 10th or 11th or something, if I remember right. So I'm kind of baffled that you still don't have a VIN, but
yeah, maybe it was because of that loan thing that I didn't see until now. I don't know. We'll see. I just submitted the thing. They approved me again. So let's see if they assign me a VIN now.
What interest rate did you get from Tesla?
They're giving 6.86.
Gross.
All right, we have a question.
Yeah, I might go to a credit union and see if they can give me a better rate.
We have 2 speakers on the board, but let's go to one question from replies about half hour ago. Omar, have you had a situation where your destination address is within an unmanned community gate and FSD does not recognize either the gate is closed or half closed opening, tries to drive through? Did your car handle this fine on 11.4.9 and or does it handle it on 12?
Well, my parents live in a gated community, so there is a gate that you need to go through to get in and out. And it has always handled the gate since the first FSD beta. Well, at times there have been certain issues, but 12 seems to handle it too. Both of them should be able to handle it in theory. That doesn't mean that they're going to handle every one properly. I did one time see a situation where someone was going through the gate and someone drove through the gate and the gate was open and FSD beta, 10 or something was trying to drive through the open gate and then it started closing and I had to disengage because I didn't want the gate to close on the car. That was, maybe a year ago or something like that. But generally, both versions should support gates, and version 12 should support them even better than 11.
Thank you. Timo Martins, you may unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. So my question,
Timo,
your guys' opinion on Tesla investing.
Okay,
Yes.
please continue. I thought your connection was bad, but it improved. Go ahead.
Sorry for that. So the investment into SpaceX and X corporations, it's obvious that you need infrastructure like batteries on the moon. A Cybertruck on the moon would be marketing. I don't need to explain it to you what it would be like, and obviously, I guess for we announced a cooperation with ChatGPT, and I can totally see a grok inside the Tesla, or at least the X app inside all cars. And I want to know your opinion about this. Should Tesla invest further into SpaceX, and also in regards to Elon's 25%, would it be an opportunity for SpaceX to invest into Tesla?
All right,
What do you
thank you.
guys think about it? Thanks.
Actually, this would be a good question for Sawyer. So there you go. He's requesting to speak. Sawyer, what do you think about the question? Do you think Tesla should be investing into SpaceX and other Elon Musk companies?
No. I think their current partnerships are sufficient for their needs. I don't see a point in like Tesla buying a huge stake into SpaceX right now.
Omar, what do you think?
I think that they will probably figure out a way to resolve this issue, and it doesn't necessarily involve a tie-up between the two companies. That may make sense at some point in the future, but it's probably best to avoid right now. SpaceX enjoys being a private company and avoiding a lot of the scrutiny, disclosures, shareholder lawsuits, and all the nonsense that goes with being a public company. They have no trouble attracting private fundraising. So I don't think we need to do that to resolve the issue with the compensation plan. I think the solution to that is potentially much more mundane.
Cybermark, you may unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hey guys, thanks. So this is on the Sawyer. I saw you posted the Stellantis. Finally got on board with the charging. What I'm wondering, has anyone seen a good financial analysis for supercharging? Just based.
Do you guys hear Cybermark?
Nope.
Okay, Cybermark, I think got a call. Tesla 420, why don't you go ahead in the meantime?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Hey, Sawyer, quick question. So I placed an order for the new Model 3 on January 20th. Now I am in South Carolina, but I still don't have a VIN for that. And the delivery date's actually been pushed back a couple times. Is there anything I can do to speed up the process of getting the VIN, or do you think it's just sort of a slow ramp in Fremont?
No, there's nothing you can do. You just essentially just have to wait. You'll get it soon, probably by the end of this quarter. But
yeah, that's my projected delivery date.
You can pray, or you can tweet something nice about Elon and tag him and say, "Hey, by the way, I've got a reservation if you want to bump me up."
He's gonna be like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
I agree with Omar. I've heard of stories of such tweets helping Tesla 420. Yeah.
All right. Well, I might need to delete some of my other tweets.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm telling you. I've seen some of your replies. All right.
Listen. All right. I'll
Thank
let you
you.
guys go.
Cybermark, go ahead.
All right. Hopefully you guys can hear me this time.
Yes. We could hear you before. Did you get a call?
No, it sounded like you couldn't hear me. So you
just dropped off.
Oh, yeah, no. So my question was, has anyone seen a good financial analysis of the supercharging network, how that works with leasing supercharging space, like what the occupancy needs to be to break even? Because obviously now that Stellantis is on board, that's going to be continue to be a big growing piece of the business, and I'm wondering kind of how big does that get?
There are some analysis of the potential impact long-term on Tesla's revenue and stuff like that, both in the Tesla retail community, but also the Wall Street analyst community, Goldman Sachs specifically. I think they said that it could be upwards of like $20 billion plus per year, potentially in a bullish scenario for Tesla, revenue-wise.
I'm sorry, is that revenue or profit?
Revenue.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know about like specific locations, break-even things. I'm not sure about that.
Okay, thank you.
One of my favorite accounts on Tesla is Larry Goldberg. His handle is Tesla Larry. He put out a supercharging analysis, financial analysis on supercharging network. If I can find it, it's hard for me to do while I'm hosting.
Wasn't his number like 100 billion, or was it much lower than that?
Let me see if I can find it real quick. If anyone has it handy, please just reply and tag me on it, and I'll pin it up here. In the meantime, let's go to Robert.
Hey, I got a question for Omar or Sawyer. Hey, Tesla, this Cybertruck is getting the name, and I don't know if these guys have heard this, but on the job sites, it's getting the name Princess Truck or Wussy Machine. The people I know in construction that have ordered the truck have simply canceled it. Do you guys know of either of these labels that are being put on this truck?
No, that's the first time I've heard that. That's funny.
I call it panty dropper, but tomato, potato, and pussy machine's cool. Depends on the context, I guess.
No, I actually said wussy machine.
I will say that there are certain things that, like a traditional F-150 has that the everyday construction worker might appreciate that the Cybertruck doesn't have. Having said that, most truck buyers these days are lifestyle buyers. They're not construction buyers. And the Cybertruck certainly caters more to the lifestyle buyer. So, obviously everyone's going to have their own opinions on the truck. It's very polarizing. So I wouldn't worry too much about construction workers hating it, and that may be impacting sales.
And buy what makes you happy too. There's a lot of, Robert, I see your image, and thanks for following me, dude. I see your picture, and it looks like you actually do hard work, but there's also a lot of stolen valor in the hardworking world, where dudes kind of imply that they're, this gut-busting, hardworking American man, and they're not like you, Robert. Clearly, that is what you do, dude. So buy what makes you happy, and if it's the Cybertruck, sick, love it. If it's not, that's fine. It probably will be eventually. There's going to be things that they do that they'll hear feedback from people and add, and I think overall it's pretty freaking dope, though. They've really packaged up an incredible experience.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
look at Ford's.
Sorry, just 1 second. Cybermark, I pinned Larry Goldberg's thread on supercharging at the top. It addresses both revenue and profitability, exactly what you were looking for. Omar, go ahead.
Yeah, I would just point people who make fun of the Cybertruck to Ford's track record in recalls. Ford is number one in recalls. Just some recent examples. Hydraulic fluid leaks and your car catches on fire. Roof caves in and you die. Car catches on fire while parked. Issues like this happening constantly. And even Jim Farley, you listen to his call, he admits it. He goes, look, we got to get better on quality. So if you want to drive a truck like that is going to be kind of substandard, is going to be leading the industry in recalls, that you don't know if it's going to have a serious defect, then, call it whatever name you want. I think a superior product is going to speak out at the end of the day. And construction workers, all the things that people love about their EVs, being able to charge it at home and never having to get gas, the technology, autopilot, FSD, the power on board, the frunk, all the things that people have been liking about their EVs, those are benefits to construction workers too. So I think people are going to be pretty surprised, especially when we talk about a year from now when the single motor Cybertruck is on the market. This is really a breakthrough product for the trucking market because it brings so many of the innovations that we've had in the rest of the market that just haven't been in trucking to the market at scale for the first time.
Gregor?
Yeah, and like, just kind of tagging back to what I was saying too. I drive a truck, Robert. I have a Tacoma. And like, it kind of goes into that. But as men, like, we're the least emotional or whatever. But like, the truck world is like the most emotional vehicle category on the planet. Like, there is a lot of dudes that find identity in their vehicle, much less their truck. I love my Tacoma, but like, if you want to approach the vehicle with the open mind, which I think you do, Cybertruck's pretty sick, man. And whether it be like, I own a TV store, and whether I'm throwing a TV in the bed or putting my camera crap in the front, like, there's a bunch of super safe storage, which for tools is also really dope. There's a lot of things to appreciate, but like Sawyer said too, I mean, it really boils down to preference and suitability for the job. But dude, if you went and you got a Silverado EV or an F-150 Lightning or a Rivian R1T or a Cybertruck, you're going to have the emotional dude that feels a certain type of way trying to tell you that it's wrong or stupid or whatnot. And you're going to drive away and fill up the thing for $5 and flip the bird to him and move along. That's just simple fact at this point. Is there's sense and there's logic, and then there's just plain ignorance and stability of people, and they want to have their own opinions that are laced with ignorance, and that's fine. Let them, I guess. Just have the thick skin to move along and love your vehicle.
Machine.
It's going to be that way with anything.
Yeah, I mean, you have to understand these truck owners don't know probably how to plug in an electrical cable. And in fact, their wives have said that they haven't found the hole for 10 years.
Well, we just lost Midwest in our audience. Thanks, Machine. Robert?
Yeah, I'm just worried about Tesla's image in the construction area. And as far as plugging in, I mean, I drive a Model Y to the job site every day. I have an F-150 with 260-something thousand miles on it, original owner. It's actually treated me very nicely. But I'm trading it for a Cybertruck, and I'm getting... You wouldn't believe the amount of shit I get for driving the Model Y for years. I mean, I've driven a Model 3, too, before that. And the atmosphere on the job sites are not good. And the people that have ordered the trucks are just fed up because they see celebrities getting these trucks, and they're like, well, where the fuck's mine? Like, I need mine. And they're going out and they're buying F-150 hybrids for like $54,000 now. So we're losing this whole sector here. That's my concern.
Jimmy?
Well, I mean, did we ever have the sector? Ford has always owned the sector. Now there's at least a few people getting the Cybertruck. It's going to ramp up, but I mean, they kind of have the market by default, right? So, I mean, I wouldn't be too concerned about it. I bet you when you get your Cybertruck and you just drive it around and show it to people, you just can't not like the thing, seeing it in person. It's just awesome. So, I mean, I think it really kind of speaks for itself. I pinned up a story at the top from somebody who just took delivery of theirs. It's really an incredible vehicle. It's got the utility of a truck, but it drives like a Tesla. It has all the technology of a Tesla. People are going to love this thing in North America, especially as they ramp production and they get the price down.
Yeah, I just wish I had the truck right here to show people, because, you can talk to them and tell them all kinds of shit, but no one's really paying attention until you show them the product. So I wish it was here right now, and I wish, I could tell people, hey, take it out for a ride and let me show you what this thing's all about. But yeah, it's frustrating and concerning, and I know people have been waiting a long time, and I'd like to see one on a job site, and I don't think that's going to come for another year or two,
Yeah, I mean, personally, my concern at this point is entirely on the supply side. because we have way more than enough Tesla fans and people who see this thing and like this thing. I mean, it's kind of the hottest car in the market right now and one of the hardest to get. So I think demand definitely isn't an issue. Let's say every construction worker in the entire country hated it and they never wanted to buy one. It wouldn't really be an issue at this stage because we're really supply constrained. So can they ramp up 4680? Can they ramp up General Assembly? And a lot of this is really around quality. Can they deliver a quality product? And I have to say, just driving the first one I drove, somebody had took delivery, I was really surprised by how solid it is. Usually when you have a car that's ramping up production early in the ramp, you may see some imperfections. You may see, something maybe rattling or squeaking or something not attached quite right. But I was like, wow, this thing is solid. It's silent. It really looks incredibly well built. I think the hardest thing for them to do is really just the body panels and making sure everything's aligned just exactly right and that type of thing. But I think they're really trying to make sure that this is a vehicle that you're going to get and you're going to feel like it feels like $100,000 vehicle.
One more thing I'm concerned about too, and if Elon will give me one more minute, is the stigma that's being passed down onto people driving Cybertrucks or any pickup truck for that matter, which is huge, by the way. I mean, it's huge in the United States, that don't need one. And this whole thing is kind of it's the narrative of the year, kind of like, look at this guy driving this Rivian. Oh my God, he could easily drive a car around to get his groceries. I mean, how often does he use this thing? This is some kind of big talk that goes around right now. So I do have concerns about the marketability and the stigma being associated with driving a truck like a Cybertruck that you don't actually need one. Like the guy that drives the Tacoma, that's like a Ford Ranger. That's not like a full-size pickup. But driving these big trucks, I mean, I've seen the truck in person. It's big. And the people that are driving it that don't need one, it's something like 60 or 70. I read an article and the number's huge. And once that, not cancel culture, but that kind of narrative gets driven around, are people going to stop driving trucks?
All right, thank you, Robert. Let's get the response from Gregor and then Jimmy.
I did.
But before that, I just realized YouTube live hours count toward watch hours limitations for monetization. So I know some people have both X Spaces open and YouTube Live open at the same time. And if you don't have a preference, just for now, watch it on YouTube Live if you could please. And that will count towards watch hours. You can do it through the link at the top of your screens. I appreciate that. Thank you. Greg and then Jimmy.
Just mildly anecdotal, but just not a clapback or anything, but just like a remark back. Robert, I put a 98-inch Samsung television in the bed of my Tacoma on Friday night, and you can't judge the book by its cover. I swear I do more work with that little Tacoma than a lot of these dudes with their. I'm looking at a 1500 Ram across the lot right now with the camper shell on it. I don't know. I feel like there's I call them man sedans. There's a lot of these guys that drive trucks just because they want a truck. That's fine. Let them get whatever they want. But it's weird when they try to coax you into feeling some kind of way because they found their gender identity from a dude with a beard in a TV commercial 4 years ago and bought a truck because of that instead of something that probably made a lot more financial sense. Now his marriage is falling apart, but that's beside the point.
Jimmy.
I was just going to say, if we listen to everybody's negative connotations, we wouldn't have Tesla. Model Y wouldn't be the number one selling vehicle in the world today. You might get a Cybertruck, and you know what? You might not like it, and that's okay. And it's not for everybody, just like a Tacoma is not for everyone, just like an F-150. I think what's really going to happen here, if we're using these trucks as a utility vehicle for people who do construction and things like that, is Tesla is going to figure out in generation 2 or 3. They might see things that people use these, and they might even come up with new ideas and say, we never even thought about that before. Well, let's modify it for this version. So everyone's always going to talk bad. That's just what people do. People like to look at negative things and they like to push it off. But I just wouldn't let them get under your skin. And, you know, we're really far away from the horse and buggy. And a lot of people complained about the motor when it first came out, too.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really worry about people stopping buying trucks. Trucks are incredibly popular. I think they'll continue to be popular. If we sort of judged every new technology by what people say about it, I mean, people have been wrong about pretty much every new technology for decades. They said the internet had no more impact than the fax machine. Man will not fly for millions of years. And they made all kinds of fun of these technologies. If you watch the late night shows, oh, what do I need the internet for? I got the radio. How is this different than the radio? Right? And of course, they were completely wrong. You know, people can't see the future. So, I mean, just drive whatever you need to drive. If you don't need a truck, then yeah, maybe get a Model Y, right? If you do need a truck because you need the utility, or maybe you just want the extra space. Maybe you're just tall. Maybe you want to have some leg room. Maybe you want to have 5 adults in the truck and have it be comfortable, more comfortable than if you're in a smaller car. And if you have to use more energy, that's all right. You know, we'll build more solar, build more wind, maybe put up some solar panels and make up for it. So, you know, I don't think we really have to worry about truck sales stopping. If you need a truck, get an electric truck. If you need a car, get an electric car. And most of all, just do what makes you happy. And don't worry too much about what other people think.
All right. Man, what I really love about this community is, one of the things I really love about this community is, just as I said, what I said about YouTube Live, a dozen more people added to the listeners on the other side, which is really cool. I just tweeted the link to the YouTube Live that's ongoing right now and pinned it at the top. So you can click on that link to reach YouTube Live and start supporting this space in terms of increasing its watch hours, which is, I need to get to 4,000 watch hours for monetization. We'll get there, but you know, it's just a matter of time. Mike Simmons, go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you. I'm new to the community. I ordered a Model X on January 31st, just the gray one with 5 seats, steering wheel. And it's still sitting in the, you know, it says February to March as the estimated delivery date. So I was hoping somebody with a little more experience in this space could share some information about what I should expect on delivery. Thank you.
Greg or Omar, would you like to answer that?
I would look in your local inventory and see if they maybe have one that matches.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah,
Okay.
they've had done that. It's, yeah. Thank you, though.
It may just be a weight thing, and man, is it qualifying for IRA?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, that's going to be a little rough. The qualifying trim for X right now is pretty freaking popular, so could be a pretty accurate wait till March thing. But keep an eye on that inventory, man. Maybe one pops up.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Omar, anything else on your mind these days?
Yeah, I think one thing that I've realized is we Tesla obsessed people who know every detail about everything the company does, who follow it, are really in a bubble compared to what general consumers are facing. It's been really interesting to see my roommate get a Model Y and just look at how he sort of approached everything, right? People talk about, oh, you can't do it if you live in an apartment, if you don't have charging. I mean, he lives in an apartment and he doesn't even have a parking spot, and he's been able to manage. Everybody's like, well, the Model Y, it needs to be upgraded. I don't want to buy the old one, but he tried the new Model 3 and he tried the new Model Y, and he said, yeah, I like some of these upgrades that are in the new Model 3. It looks really great, but ultimately I just want the Model Y, and they're, really giving me a great deal. I'm going to go with that. And then, you know, everyone's like complaining about the vision-based park assist, and he goes, "Oh my God, this car is so easy to pull in and out of tight spots because it has this 3D visual park assist. I've never had a car with any kind of park assist before. So this is the first time I've had any park assist. It's such a step forward." So whereas everyone's complaining about like, oh, it's not as good as ultrasonic or whatever, here you have these buyers who can now afford a Tesla who've never had any of these features before, and they're just kind of blown away. And it kind of shows that this is kind of the interesting thing about Tesla's pricing strategy is as they move lower down the market, and you know, each of these sort of price cuts moves them further and further down the market. Each, you know, $1,000 or so opens up a larger TAM than the last $1,000, just because most of the buyers tend to be at the lower part of the market. And in the higher end of the market, right, even really since the early days of the Model 3 ramp, you've been able to get a Model 3 for around the price of a BMW 3 Series or less. So we achieved price parity with luxury cars long ago. And that's great, but there's less differentiation compared to Tesla in these luxury cars because they have things like park assist, they have things like seats that move, that kind of thing. But in the markets they're competing in increasingly, which are non-luxury cars, they're actually achieving price parity now with non-luxury cars with the Model Y when you factor in the point of sale credit and other stuff. And compared to that new space they're playing in, they're far more differentiated than the other vehicles in the segment where you might have to add in a ton of options to get to something that's comparable than what you get with the base Model Y. So it's just been kind of interesting to see that in person and realize how disconnected some of our discussions are from the way buyers really think about it if they're not like heads down in this discussion all the time. You know, it doesn't really matter if it's the new one or the old one, really. I mean, the new one has some nice stuff, the rear screen, all that, ventilated seats, but there isn't really a better crossover or compact SUV than you can get in the market right now than the Model Y. And they have some crazy good deals right now. I mean, you can get an inventory discount. They got $1,000 temporarily off. They got $1,000 off if you got a Cybertruck reservation. They got another $1,000 off if you're an Uber driver. Then they got the point of sale credit. Then you can do an FSD transfer. I mean, it's just unreal. And this probably isn't going to happen when they have the updated version. You see what's happening with the new Model 3 now. It doesn't have the tax credit. It's not really getting as much of these discounts. But, you know, the Model Y, it's like really an incredible time to get what's really the best car in the world and also the best selling car in the world. So I've seen a lot of people ordering and a lot of people taking deliveries, and it's a really good thing to see. Even some people who've been longtime Tesla investors who probably didn't want to buy a Tesla because the stock was just shooting up so much. Now a lot of them are saying, okay, all right, maybe I'll actually buy a Tesla.
Okay.
And that's really nice to see.
Okay. We have about another half hour to go. I will get to as many requests to speak as I can. Robert?
Yeah, and with Omar talking about his friend that lives in an apartment complex leads me to a burning question. And that is, if Omar knows, or Yaman, if you know, is Tesla doing anything to penetrate local building ordinances to get certain percentages of EV chargers per unit? Like, I know there's some jurisdictions out here near Denver, the best ones are like every 10 apartments has to have one EV charger. And to me, that's just not even close to where I would want to be. Now, is Tesla doing any attempt to rewrite some of the building codes to at least, you know, make a requirement to have Tesla chargers in the garages of single family homes or duplexes? And then what about apartment buildings? Is there any effort on Tesla's part to penetrate some of these local ordinances and get some of these chargers to be required?
It. Thank you, Robert. I personally am not aware of any attempt by Tesla to do what you're saying, but obviously Tesla is growing its supercharging network, level 2, level 3, and now level 4 chargers around the world, around the US as well. as fast as possible. That growth seems to be accelerating, so that's really good. But to your specific question, I'm not aware. When Omar comes back, we can ask him. Jimmy, do you know of any efforts?
No, this was brought up too earlier, not in this space, in a different space, but in my state, no, Tesla, I don't think right now is reaching out to like government or anything saying we need to have these, because the government already has their own EV program to put chargers in. And I think it's like $500 billion or some ridiculous amount of money where they're trying to electrify America across the board. And then when they have this program, we also saw everybody else switch over to the North American charging standard. And so right now, I just don't see Tesla pushing anyone because they don't really need to.
Thank you, Jimmy. Taras Ilchuk, you may unmute yourself and go ahead. Taras, you have to unmute yourself for us to hear you. Jimmy, do you see Taras as a speaker?
I do, but I don't hear them. I can only hear you.
How do you feel about that?
Lucky.
All right, X-Phoenix, you may go ahead.
Hey, thank you so much for bringing me up. I appreciate it. I was just gonna kind of second the thought process of infrastructure, because I think that Tesla is going to see a lot of like excitement from the people who are just coming into a point of being able to afford the brand. And so that's going to lead to challenges for more charging. I see, like in my area, I'm in Central Florida, they've paired with Wawa. They have some charging stations paired with the gas stations, and that seems to be working pretty well. But like they were saying with Omar's friend, not having availability in like office buildings or even in your apartment would be difficult. So I think could they perhaps like incentivize by creating like a in-network Tesla Pay station? I understand there's a Tesla bank already, so maybe they can, provide the equipment and then work with these big companies just to get their chargers in the spots where they need to be.
Well, so Tesla already has a place on their website where people and private businesses can go and apply for superchargers in their facility. I don't think you would want to take the approach, though, where Tesla goes and seeks the government and then they forcefully push it onto companies.
It's kind of what General Electric does.
Hold on one sec. Hold on. Reminder for everybody, Taras, you have to stay on mute until I call on you. Otherwise, we get echo, and the experience for the listeners is horrible. Robert, ChargePoint hired thousands of people to sell their chargers, and they went bankrupt. I'm sure that Tesla team has thought about all sorts of possibilities when they're crafting their strategy with charging. But thank you for voicing your opinion in the space, and I'm sure that your opinion will reach the right ears. The fact is, Tesla charging is one of those areas of Tesla, the company, that really satisfied Elon's vision, which was the second place should need a telescope to see us. And not only they need a telescope to see Tesla, there is really no second place anymore. The bulls, the bears, the investors, short sellers, employees, politicians all agree unanimously Tesla charging is the best solution. Taras, you may unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hey, sorry about all that. This is my first time in a Twitter space like this, but I'm a Tesla owner of 5 years, and a lot of the stuff that's been said so far, I can totally, like what Robert said about the construction guys, calling Cybertruck names and all that. It's pretty funny. Because when I got my Model 3 in 2018, a ton of people, it was the same thing. It was like, aren't you afraid you're going to run out of charge? Like, where are you going to charge your car? People looked at charging as like gas stations everywhere, but not charging stations. I'm like, well, you plug in your, it's just, you guys all heard of this. Like, you plug in your phone at night, the same way you plug in your car. So a lot of the stigma kind of goes away with when enough people have positive experiences with these cars. And same thing will happen with the Cybertruck. Well, like in the truck space, the laughing will, people continue to laugh, and like for whatever reason, like maybe they're insecure in their choices in cars and stuff. But the network effect kind of grows. Like I was able to get most of my family into electric cars just by my own positive experience, and they would not have otherwise done that.
Great.
So I think the long-term strategy, what Tesla's doing, is actually really good. It reminds me kind of what OnePlus, there's like Android phone maker did. They lowered the price of a product to make it more attainable for people, and people had such a positive experience. They shared.
Okay.
This,
Thank you very much.
with people.
Light Spirits, you may go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to ask, so I will say a suggestion. You remember the Apple Vision Pro? What if Tesla built their own, but for like the passengers in the car, and they like plug it into the car, and they can have like a interactive games and interactive activities while the driver is driving or while it's doing its self-driving? That might be neat, huh?
Maybe. Thank you. Scott, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, Iman. I very much enjoyed the space earlier at work. I'd just like you to know that some of the improvements are after a couple of weeks of not hearing your space. I'm very much enjoying it. It's very professional, and just want you to know that great job. So, and it was great to hear you bash machines still. So fantastic.
Yeah, most people agree with what you said, but then there are some people that have been around for more than a year, original supporters of the space, who say, you know what, we kind of want it the other way, the way that it used to be, where it was a bit more cutthroat. So maybe what I can do at some point is, when X opens up subscriptions, I can make it a low fee, and we can have it the soup Nazi way. And if people don't want the soup Nazi, they don't have to subscribe. Scott?
Yeah, I think maybe for the first hour, make it really professional, and then do some shredding after that. But yeah, I would miss it too. I think we had some good cut-ups once in a while too.
Yeah.
But I was jealous to hear that you got to see two Cybertrucks. I guess in Austin, that's getting to be very common. And I hope to be able to go see the one in the mall in Toronto this week, finally. So I'm excited. We haven't seen any up here.
Thank you, Scott. How you been? It's been a while. Everything good with the family?
Yeah, the family's really good. Enjoying my grandbaby. I'm going to take my wife on a cruise next week for her 40th birthday. And just life is good. Very busy. And yeah, things are well. How are you? You sound good. How are you?
I'm good. You know, are you going to take me to a cruise on my 40th birthday?
No, I don't think my wife would approve of that. You can ask her to take you on a cruise. She might go for that.
All right. Tezali, how are you? How is FSD doing for you on their Uber rides?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Before I start with that, I just want to mention thank you for the uploading everything on YouTube. I know it's a lot of work, but it's very appreciated.
Yeah, thank you. People seem to appreciate that. They really like the fact that even though this space goes on for 2 hours, more than that sometimes, like right now we're at 2 hours and 12 minutes. When this space goes on YouTube, it's going to be about 70 minutes after all the cutting off all the filler words and empty spaces, and maybe some of the parts that I don't quite think that it fits the entire space. So Like sometimes people drop off, there's connection issues. I take all of that out when I publish it on YouTube. So you can go up to the top of your screens and click on the link, subscribe for free. The ad revenue from YouTube allows me to keep these spaces free for everybody. So if you could please do that, I would highly appreciate it. Go ahead, Tezali.
Good. Actually, I haven't been in my car. I just got it back today from a Turo rental. And the other one is on a long-term rental. But I did go drive the new refresh Model 3. And it's so good. I can't believe how quiet it is inside. And I'm not sure if you know, but I have a deaf in my left ear. So I have a lot of hearing issues, and noise really makes a big difference. You know, I really can hear like the subtle noises, and that thing is so quiet. I don't know why I waited so long to test drive it, but I'm probably going to get one just for that reason alone. It's so quiet and comfortable inside. The seats are great. I thought it'd be a little too low because I Uber a lot. I like to have the height of the Model Y, but it's actually not that bad. Not that bad when you get inside. Just the cooled seats also as well on this hot San Diego weather. It's just such a good car. I can't believe how much they were able to finesse the car and make it even better, like a whole different platform.
That's great, Tezali. Thank you very much. And what I see on YouTube data and comments, uniformly extremely positive reviews of the new Model 3, upgraded Model 3. You know, people call it Highland. Elon said it's not really Highland, it's more the upgraded Model 3. And I highly recommend people to test drive. And Tesla also offers overnight test drive. So you can go to a Tesla store, grab the car, take it home, drive it around for 10, 12, 14, 16 hours, see how it fits your daily schedule, and see if you want to order it. But it's obvious that the Model 3 is now the best sedan ever produced. And it's a very affordable price as well. I think it's just a matter of these interest rates coming down before, you know, the demand order rate for the Model 3 surges. All right, great. Any other questions, comments? We're at 2 hours, 15 minutes. I highly appreciate those of you coming here. I think we've had several thousand people coming in and out today. We have YouTube Live going on at the same time. It's really cool that people are just leaving some positive comments. It's humbling. Thank you. Scott?
Iman, I wonder if I've heard this from a few people that I work with that were thinking about the new Model 3, and they keep saying things like, you know what, I'm just going to wait till the cheaper model comes out. I'm just going to wait till the cheaper model comes out. I don't think people are really doing the return on investment on waiting for this, this 3-4 years that it's going to be before they get this cheaper model to go EV. Buying a Model 3 just makes sense right now. And I'm not sure why people have that mentality, but I'm hearing quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm curious what the schedule is going to be for the next generation vehicle. But when it starts, I mean, if it's in line with every other Tesla program, it's going to start a little higher than $25,000. So might as well just get the new Model 3 today. And if you go on the new inventory page, you may even get a couple $1,000s off. So yeah, I do recommend people to get, if I was getting a Tesla today, that's probably what I would get. All right. Any other questions, comments? Otherwise, we're going to call it a day. Highly appreciate all of you. And maybe we can talk again tomorrow. Take care, everybody.
Oh, I just wanted to say one more thing.
Okay,
if you don't mind.
Yeah, we'll get to that in 1 second. Tezali, I want to tell you, you sound a little sick. Better load up on those oranges, buddy. Get some rest. Load up on the oranges. Clean out those breathing areas. All right, X-Phoenix.
I just wanted to say thank you so much. I appreciated all the valuable information you gave. And if anyone else, I was just going to say I'm going in to set notifications for you. So in case anyone else didn't know how to do that, there's a little bell next to the following sign for him. So that way you don't miss when he's having these spaces, because there was a lot of great information that you shared. And I appreciate you allowing some of us who aren't necessarily big up in your community to come in and share our voice too. So I appreciate you.
All right, thank you very much. I do appreciate your kind words. Jimmy.
I was going to say, if you're a speaker in the future, go to your settings, go to do not disturb, and phone calls will not disconnect, and wreck the audio for everybody else.
Thank you, Jimmy. All right, everybody. On that note, thank you very much, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Take care.